Welcome back. We're on episode 10 of Peter and John, the two witnesses of Revelation chapter 11. And what we're going to do is look at the island that is called Patmos. Now, the usual questions regarding this are, was John on Patmos as a prisoner, or was he there because he was in hiding after his brother James' beheading in Acts chapter 12, which also happened in Jerusalem, or was he there to preach the gospel? But we're going to ask a new question today. This is something that's been on my mind. Was John really on the island of Patmos when he received the revelation from Jesus? First of all, little reminder, Revelation, the very first verse says that it's the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants things which must shortly take place. And he sent and signified it by his angel to his servant John. And to signify it means he rendered it into signs. And that's all that apocalyptic has to do with it too. It's a lot of symbolism, a lot of metaphor, lots of just imagery. And we know that as a fact, as we see all kinds of images in Revelation. And not only that, we also see examples within the book of places, specifically the city of Jerusalem, which has many different names. Jerusalem is called Sodom and Egypt in chapter 11, Babylon in chapters 14 to the end of the book, the great harlot, the great city. So I have a question here that's been in my mind. Is it possible that even Patmos is code for Jerusalem? Now, why would I even question this? Some of us, if you've been watching this series, we believe that Peter and John were the two witnesses of Revelation 11, and the two witnesses were killed in Jerusalem. Again, chapter 11 says that's Sodom and Egypt. Now, if John was on Patmos, how could he end up being killed in Jerusalem as one of the two witnesses? And there's a few possibilities for that. First of all, if he was a prisoner, he could have been released and returned to Jerusalem, or if he was in hiding, or if he was preaching on his own at Patmos, he could have just freely on his own gone back to Jerusalem when he received the call to be the witness, or maybe he was really never on the island of Patmos. Again, I know that sounds like blasphemy. Some of us have never actually considered that, but this is when a light bulb went off in my head at one point. The name Patmos means, are you ready for it? Patmos means my killing. How either coincidental, ironic, or just literary genius to do that, and it fits the genre of apocalyptic and the characteristic of apocalyptic. Quite possibly, what we have here is just a name. John, just like Peter, was probably remained in Jerusalem. And given the fact that Revelation is apocalyptic literature, and given the fact that Jerusalem has many names in the book of Revelation that we looked about, could Patmos, my killing, simply be John's way of saying that he's approaching martyrdom in Jerusalem? John knew that Jesus was coming soon, and he also knew that this meant that his own death was approaching quickly. So just as Peter closed his first letter with a reference to Jerusalem, he refers to Babylon in 1 Peter 3:15. So John opens his apocalypse with a reference to Jerusalem, his Patmos, in Revelation 1:9. And just as it's likely that Peter was never in Rome, on the theory that it's also possible that John was never actually on the island of Patmos. Again, it's just literary creativity there. So the theory that both Peter and John were martyred as the two witnesses in Jerusalem, because this is where prophets were appointed to die, according to Jesus, I believe that theory still stands here with this series. So let me know if you have any questions or comments. And as always, contend earnestly for the faith, which was once for all delivered to the saints. And God bless.